Hello and welcome to Connected, episode 560. It's made possible by our sponsors, Ecamm and ZocDoc. My name is Stephen Hackett, and I have the pleasure of being joined by Mr. Mike Hurley.
Hello, Stephen.
Hello.
I have something fun planned for next week's episode of Connected.
Yes, this is my last recording before a little vacation, and I'm afraid.
I have something fun, and I'm going to enjoy in that fun with the Ricky Benjamin, Federico Vitici. Ciao, Federico.
Hello, ciao, Mike. Ciao, Stephen.
Ciao.
How are you?
Ciao.
It's good to be here.
This is the second episode in 2 weeks where I'm starting the show by drinking half a Red Bull.
Mm.
Ooh, no.
Yeah. I'm worried that this is my life now. I'm really tired, and so I figure to give you the passion and the energy that you deserve and the passionate ones deserve, I have to drink half of a Red Bull. Just half, because if I drink more than half, it causes other problems.
What?
And I'm about a quarter of a way through so far, so we can expect things to pick up as the episode continues.
What do you do with the other half?
I throw it away.
Oh,
Okay.
you should
What do you
give it
want
to
me
a
to do
plant
with it?
or something. Pour it on a plant.
Hey,
See if the plant's
do you think that
energetic.
would be good for a plant, Red Bull?
Put it in the fridge with a little piece of tape on it and have it tomorrow.
Mike, just out of curiosity, where do
Yeah.
you stand on the idea of having a heart attack during Connected?
I mean, it would be good content,
Right. I agree. Okay,
right?
cool.
It would be memorable. So
Wish you the
I'll
best,
say
yeah.
this. There's a podcast that I listen to, and he says this often, and I'll say it again. If I die during an episode of the show, I want you to publish it. Because
Yeah.
it will be good for the show.
Oh, yeah. Big same. Yeah.
Yeah, it will be good for the show. So, if I'm not here anymore, fine. I want you to publish the show.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. We'll do the title suggestions and everything,
I mean, there is precedent for this. Federico got robbed during an episode of
Right,
Connected, and we
right.
carried on. You know?
Right.
But, well,
I mean-
he got robbed via security camera. He wasn't.
It's still robbing, right? Like, just because you weren't in that place when it was happening.
I still felt violated remotely,
I said he got robbed, not mugged, right?
Mm,
Mugged is
right.
like happening on him. Robbed, like he got robbed, like the beach
Yeah.
house was robbed.
Yes.
Federico was watching it happen.
Of
we
the
just carried on.
barbecue equipment, no less. So,
Phew, the worst thing to be robbed from a beach house. How did you survive,
I know, right? Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
what is a beach house without its barbecue implements? It's just a house. It's just a
Just a
house with some
house.
sand nearby.
There's just,
Yeah, sandy
Yeah.
house.
yeah.
Just an annoying sandy house. With some follow-up, Michael Rowe wrote in and said, I was out walking yesterday, and iOS 26 Workout Buddy, Federico's favorite feature, informed me that I had hit 1 mile while listening to Chartman from Connected in a voice that sounded like I was jamming.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a chop man. I've been hearing this from people that this is a very strange phenomenon. I keep getting like social media posts to me about this. That Workout Buddy tells you the episode title of the podcast, and because of the way we choose our episode titles, which are just like weird things said on the show, that it is causing a lot of confusion in people. Because understandably, when you're listening to the episode of the podcast, you don't really know what it's called because it's like not important to you, right? But like if it's a show where the titles are contextual, right? That it's like, it's the name of the guest or something. It's like, okay, that makes logical sense when you hear it. But when you hear our titles, it's like, what am I listening to? What's going on? Well, Workout Buddy's going to help everybody surface those titles.
That could be really exciting for that episode title that was all just numbers.
Oh gosh, this is a good potential audience griefing opportunity, isn't it? Just really, really, really long titles.
Yeah, Connected 366, whose title was, and I quote, 514-696-3475-911-8-6-4-11-5-1-1-2-8-8-2-8-12-3-6-11-12-2-6-1-9-1-7-10.
So who's the workout
Yeah.
buddy now, It's
Yeah,
you. You're a workout buddy now.
Still can't believe we called an episode Chartman. That is-
Shut up, man.
Chartman.
Jason told me he immediately knew it was about him.
Yeah. I keep thinking of I've been thinking about the Blur song Charmless Man for the past week, but instead of charmless, it's chartless, the
Yep.
story of a chartless
No
man.
charts.
That's me. I don't have charts. I don't believe in them. I don't want them. Everybody else has charts. I don't care. I don't want charts. Charts are for people with bad memories.
Okay, sure.
Last week on the show, we were furiously trying to understand if an A18 Pro could power a display, and many things were said, and it turns out that some of them were wrong. Fluful wrote in and said, I think you had some details about external display support for iPhones and the A chips wrong. Since I know that my 15 Pro is fine with a 4K, 60 Hz, and HDR monitor. But when trying to confirm this, I found that it looks like even the regular 15 can do it too. And Matthias wrote in and said, iPhone uses the DisplayPort protocol to support connections to USB-C displays up to 4K resolution and 60 Hz. So an A18 Pro MacBook could power a display. So that's good for that computer, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I should have thought of that. It's not just plain USB. Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
I was disappointed you had not internalized the USB-C specifications in full, Federico.
Right. My bad.
It was especially funny to me listening to NPC, listening to you talk about the USB DisplayPort spec for your eyeglasses.
Yeah.
He's living in the future. He really is.
It really is. It's a future. Federico lives in a future.
It's a future, one of many.
Whether it's the right future, unsure, but it's a future that Federico lives in.
Exactly. Yes.
Hey, I quit my job 10 years ago.
It's like today. I'm done. I'm free. Congratulations, Stephen, for quitting your jobs 10 years ago. We didn't tell you until now, so congratulations on that.
This is congratulations, Stephen. I just found the time to read the post this morning, and you should be proud of everything you've done. This is what I wanted to say. I think you should be proud of everything you've done. The fact that you still, you've had 512 for longer than that, but taking the leap 10 years ago to do Relay, and now obviously your career has evolved in some other directions as well. But it's an important achievement, and you should be proud of everything you've done and everything you're still doing, which I think is equally important. Not just the things you've done, but the things you're still doing. So,
yeah, thanks, man. No, that means a lot. It snuck up on me a little bit, but having a chance to reflect on it, it's just it's really incredible, and I owe thanks to a lot of people, and that's on the blog post. So go check it out. And I got linked to by The Enthusiast, which is
very enthusiastically posting about you.
Awesome.
I spent a lot of time. I spent more time picking the image. A lot of photos of us, and the real problem, the problem of picking a photo of Stephen is which Stephen do you want? Because every year Stephen is a different man, and it's like, do you want Stephen that looks like a current Stephen, or do you want to try and guess what this year's Stephen model would be, and then try and find a Stephen from the past and apply that image to now? Yeah,
the one you picked is one of my favorite Stevens, I think.
Thank you.
Good model. That's a good vintage. That's Stephen.
Yeah, short hair, long beard. That's one of my favorite Stevens from over the years.
No, my favorite Stephen, I think, is current. Well, is a version of the current Stephen, which is mostly mustache forward. And longer hair.
Oh yeah, the mustache was also yeah.
Although maybe best Stephen was Lion Stephen when he just had an absolute mane. That was before I got married, because it was my wedding anniversary this week, and so I saw pictures of I took Stephen to a barber.
You took all of the groomsmen. It wasn't just me.
Yeah, I know, but you were there. And it wasn't because Stephen's hair was... I actually didn't want him to get much cut off, but he had a lot cut off.
Yeah, but the guy said, we're going to start with you.
Yeah, he was pretty concerned, I think. That was my barber I actually went to today. So.
Oh, nice.
He doesn't say hello, but he would if he knew that he should.
Yeah. Current Stephen is the opposite of this picture. Really short beard, mustache, and I haven't gotten my hair cut since the podcast-a-thon, so it's long and...
Excellent.
It's something.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the problem with pictures of Stephen. It's like you just which one's the right one to post, because But there we
Yeah.
are. I like the one that I posted.
I feel like that's the version most people think of. Short hair, long
It's
beard.
the one they've seen the most recently. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They saw 12 hours of you a year ago.
It's true.
And then we'll update it in September.
I'm not a YouTuber anymore. Secret.
Is this 2026 Stephen or 2025 model? How do you work that one out?
I feel, I mean, since I haven't gotten a haircut in 9 months, I feel like I'm 2025 Steven currently.
Right. Because it is unlikely you will go the rest of the year looking the same, because that is your way. So
yeah,
we'll get a new Steven in 2026. We're going to look forward to that model.
There are people pushing me to have my haircut as a podcast-a-thon gag.
Right.
We'll see.
Well,
if Jill gets her way.
Yeah. Are you going to go for a foldable Steven? Thin and light Steven? Where are we going?
I mean, I wish I were a thin and light Steven,
Steven 26 Air.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have some research and development to do.
That's right. That's right.
To get into that one.
Steven
You're going to
Pro
put
Max.
silicon carbide skeleton inside and then you'll be ready to roll. See, this Rebel's doing great. It's doing great.
Yeah, you're on fire.
Oh, my ear just started ringing, so maybe it's not so
You've
great.
had too much. You've had too much. This episode of Connected is brought to you by Ecamm. Ecamm Live is the leading video production and live streaming studio built for the Mac. But it doesn't stop there because Ecamm is great at simplifying your workflow. You can do it all with the Ecamm app. Get started quickly and have everything on hand to create whatever you need with video. What impresses me most about Ecamm is the team's embrace of what makes the Mac great. macOS has lots of media tools, and they all integrate with Ecamm Live. Ecamm is great for streaming, recording, podcasting, and presenting. You can screen share, use multiple cameras, and direct the show in real time with their live camera switcher. Plus, you can add logos, titles, lower thirds, and graphics. You can drop in video clips, bring on interview guests, use a green screen, and so much more. Ecamm's members are entrepreneurs, marketing professionals, podcasters, educators, musicians, church leaders, bloggers, and content creators of all kinds. And if you're on the pro level plan, you can enjoy Ecamm for Zoom. Automatically send Ecamm Live's audio and video output into a Zoom meeting, Zoom webinar, or Zoom event. And add up to 8 Zoom participants as camera sources in your broadcast or recording. Plus, you can automatically create individual participant audio and video recordings and add Zoom chat messages to your broadcast or recording as text overlays. To get 1 month free today, just go to ecamm.com/connected and use the code CONNECTED. That's 1 month free of Ecamm Live at ecamm.com/connected. ECAMM, ecamm.com/connected. Go there now and check it out. Our thanks to Ecamm for their support of the show and all of Relay. I may have found the perfect MagSafe wallet.
For now.
Okay.
For now. The Nomad leather mag wallet with Find My tracking.
Okay.
Wow, it's leather, so you must hate the planet.
Is it?
Sorry. I
don't think leather's bad for the...
Oh, you're making it worse.
It's bad for the animals, right?
Therefore, bad for the planet.
Are animals bad for the planet?
Please stop.
Look!
Please
I don't know.
stop.
We're just look. It started as a joke, and it's like it was a stupid joke. Please don't go any
Hey,
further.
y'all the ones looking at the feedback next week, not me. So
but I can just select all delete. That's fine.
It's true.
It's fine.
So this is from Nomad MagSafe wallet. This was announced a few weeks ago, and I ordered one, and it's come in. I've been using it for about a week, and I have some impressions. First of all, being Find My compatible is really awesome. You know, the Apple Wallet is, but it just basically drops a pin in Find My whenever it's disconnected from the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty good until someone moves your wallet, and then it's not
if you dropped
where...
it on the bus.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I'm standing in the middle of this highway. Where's my wallet? And so this thing is more like it's not quite like an AirTag because it doesn't have the ultra wideband support, but it is more Find My E, I guess.
No, I guess it's Find My in the way that like your laptop is or your iPad, because they don't have ultra wideband.
Right.
Maybe some of the newer ones do, but like let's say like your old iPhone, right, before they went to ultra wideband, or your AirPods, right? That some of those kinds of devices where it can tell you roughly where it is, but not like super pinpoint it.
Not super great. It holds easily. They say 3 to 4. I would say 4 to 5 cards, depending on thickness, pretty easily. And one thing I really like about it that I don't like about the Apple one is that there's a little thumb cut out at the bottom, so you can like push the cards out easily.
What's the noise that it makes, sir?
Like that.
That's a really interesting noise. How do they make it do that? Is it because of the electronics inside? That's really good. So just to confirm, the Find My stuff is built into the wallet. It's not like a card.
That's right. It's now Nomad has a card.
Yeah.
That I think is basically the same as what's sewn into the back of this wallet. So it is a little bit thicker. It's not thick, but it's a little bit thicker because of that. And it does have a battery, but unlike earlier versions of things like this, you can just recharge this on a Qi or MagSafe charger.
So that's real nice. And if iPhone ever gets reverse wireless charging, it would charge your phone. It would charge your wallet the whole time, wouldn't it? If it ever got that.
I guess that's true. Apparently it'll last months. And pretty happy with it. I got it in black. The magnet's really good, way better than Apple's. I'm very pleased with it. It's pricey, but I'm pleased with it for what it is.
Nice.
This is I can't believe somebody else has made this product. Like, this is what the Apple Wallet should be, right?
Yeah.
Seems like a bit of a home run, to be honest.
Did I ever tell you guys about the also Find My compatible wallet that I have? I found it via an Instagram ad.
Excellent.
And it seemed too good to be true. This was last year, by the way. I purchased it and it arrived like 2 months later, but it totally works. It's Find My compatible, shows up in Find My, has this proprietary like pogo pin connector to recharge it every few months. Like I think I charge it like twice a year or something. And it's called the Locate. It's LOCH just as a number.
Great name. I saw it. I just found it, and I didn't realize the name until you said it out loud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Locate. Yeah. Locate.
LOCH. Locate.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Locate. Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice because it lets me hold a few cards, some cash if I want to, and shows up in Find My, attaches via MagSafe, and it also doubles as a stand. So pretty cool. I have no idea. Like, I just saw this on an Instagram story. I was like, hey, this is nice. I have no idea what this company is, but still, 90 euros, whatever, I'll get it. And I did. Waited 2 months, arrived, totally works. So nice.
Looks a little chunky in the image.
Yeah, it's not thin. It's not thin, but I wanted to have like 5 cards plus some cash if I wanted to.
Right.
And that's exactly what I keep.
And I guess you benefit from it being a kickstand, right? Like you
Yes.
lose
Of course
the
he does.
thinness, but you
Yes,
get the
of course.
kickstand.
I mean, you know me.
Hang on a minute. Let me
Yeah.
go back to the TG Olympics.
Yeah.
Didn't
New
I say he
kickstand
was gonna
technology.
Get a kickstand technology? Pretty sure I said that.
Oh, yeah. Well, you won anyway.
Yeah, I know, but I want more points.
Okay. Can we retroactively
Yeah.
give you more points?
Obviously.
I mean, the scorecards are interactive, you know, and, for a reason. I don't know where to find it. So there's too many games now, but I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna check the wording. These wallets seem nice. I have a really old, stupid wallet. My wallet don't do nothing. It hasn't got no technology in it at all. Maybe I should have technology. I people always talk about these cards, right? Like the Find My cards, and it seems like a good idea, but I don't want to give up space in my slim wallet, like an entire card's worth of space.
Yeah, that is a bummer. I mean, I've got one It's not a Nomad one. It's another brand. But I got one for Mary for her wallet. But her wallet is like a big thing with 1,000 things in it in a purse, right? So it's a little bit different.
I have like one of those really little Bellroy ones. It can have like 4 things in it. By the way, it was Federico discovers a new kickstand technology. It was a passion pick. I will retroactively claim a point for that one.
Okay.
Before we move on, can I give you just 2 quick news from Mark Gurman?
Yes.
The first one is
Breaking
that
news.
OpenAI has officially completed its $6.5 billion acquisition of IO, the Johnny Ive design company.
Hey-o.
Yeah, so they are officially joining OpenAI as of today.
In the post, did they reference the name of the company? Because they're not allowed to do that, right? It's just
I think I saw a screenshot of the OpenAI website saying, "We're thrilled to share that the IO Products Inc." So is this the name now? IO Products Inc.
They've changed the name to a bad name.
IO Products Incorporated team has officially merged with OpenAI. Johnny Ive and Lovefrom remain independent and have assumed deep design and creative responsibilities across OpenAI.
Okay.
And the second one from Mark Gurman, all caps, new. Apple readies refreshed Vision Pro with M4 chip, expanded neural engine, and new strap for as early as this year. Lighter, redesigned version is coming in 2027.
Okay. He's confirming then what Ming Chi Kuo spoke about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Which is good for Ming Chi Kuo. But yeah, okay. This is good. I don't even want to... I don't want to have to think about replacing that product.
No.
Right? So I love that all they're going to do is put a new chip in it in 2020. What was it, this year? And then a new one in 2027? Like, great. That's perfect. That will work for me.
That'll do. Federico, over on Mac Stories, y'all have this great page outlining your setups. I love it. I love the photos. I love the changelog, the whole thing.
Changelog is my favorite part. That's my favorite part. I love the changelog. Cool. It's real good.
I love my changelog. Yeah, it's got the little disclosure triangles. Boop.
Toggle
changelog. Boop, boop. Yeah. That's the sound it makes. I'm making a lot of sound effects today.
Yeah, you really are. It's good. I love this. Have you got a soundboard, a professional soundboard?
No, it's just my
impossible.
My body is a soundboard.
Impossible. They're too good.
Mm-hmm. So there's some things in here that I want to just touch on briefly. I'm sure y'all will talk about this on App Stories at some point. But the Mac Studio's there, which you talked about. I noticed, though, that you swapped an 11-inch iPad for a 13-inch iPad.
Yeah.
Is that for beta purposes?
That is both for beta purposes because the 13 is on 26 and the 11 is on iPadOS 18, but also because I do feel like iPadOS multitasking lends itself better to the bigger screen.
Agreed.
With all the windows, it's just more comfortable when you're using the big iPad.
Let me tell you though, if you use the 11-inch with Stage Manager and the Magic Keyboard, that is an adorable little computer.
Yeah, it is.
I love that tiny little computer of mine that I have now. Just like impossibly small laptop that, because of the Magic Keyboard, is always uncomfortable to put on your lap, but nevertheless is a great little computer.
I'll give you one more, actually.
Okay.
I love iPadOS 26 on the iPad mini. Way
Excellent.
more than
Yes,
I thought I would.
Me one more.
Way more than I thought I would. In fact, if Apple made a Magic Keyboard for the iPad mini, I would totally buy it. Like a super small netbook. Wow, that's a word I haven't spoken in a long time.
Whoa.
Yeah. I love the little guy now, which is why it's back in the setups page also.
Okay. A couple other just things I wanted to touch on. The Spigen head strap for the Vision Pro. Which head strap is that? I couldn't place it.
It's like the Belkin one, but it came out a couple of months before, which is why I got it. What's the official name?
Apple Vision Pro Series head strap.
It's just called head strap, and it costs $40. Yeah, Spigen head strap. Very comfortable, very simple, kind of similar to the Belkin one. I know that Mike told me you should buy the Belkin one, but I think I'm fine with this one.
I bought the Spigen one, and I bought the Belkin one, and I prefer the Belkin one.
Okay.
The reason I prefer the Belkin one is I found the Spigen one to be really annoying to adjust. And I couldn't get it to sit right. Like, it still didn't feel very comfortable. But the Belkin one it adjusts like one of the Apple Watch bands. Like it's like Velcro, and you pull it, and to tighten it, and then you loop it back over again. It's the Belkin one. If the Spigen one works for you, great. But I couldn't get it to sit comfortably. But the Belkin one is very comfortable.
Okay, then maybe I should try it. Actually,
I really recommend it. And also the Belkin bag is great. The
Belkin
little
bag.
Belkin bag.
Reference acknowledged.
Mm-hmm.
Your Virtue Pro XR
Vichur.
glasses.
Vichur, yeah,
I can't say it.
Vichur,
Vichur.
Vichur.
And related accessories. What accessories come with XR glasses?
So this company, they make a mobile dock that is both an external battery pack with USB-C input and output for video. So they recently updated the firmware of the mobile dock to support the Nintendo Switch 2. So in one USB-C port, you connect your Nintendo Switch 2. In one of the other USB-C ports, you connect your glasses, and you can play Nintendo Switch 2 inside the XR glasses. And yeah, it's pretty cool because it also, it's a battery. It's a 10,000 milliampere hour battery. So lets you play Nintendo Switch 2 for like a couple of hours without being connected to power if you want to. And it supports output to the Vichur glasses, but just the Vichur glasses. This company's Vichur and X-Real, which is the other arguably more popular one, they have their own like little fight at the moment. I saw Vichur had a series of announcements yesterday to announce like 4 new glasses. Very confusing lineup, I should say. The only thing I will tell you is that one of the models is called the Beast. That is the actual product name. It's called the Beast.
I really want to put the Beast on my face.
I'm not kidding. And even more confusing is that they announced on X and on Reddit. This is where the announcements happened. They announced one of the other models called the Ultra, and in the tweet and in the Reddit post, they said introducing the Ultra, the Beast of XR glasses, but then they also have another product called the Beast. So, to paint you a picture, it's been a confusing launch. So there's that.
That's so dumb.
And I noticed
we're trying our best out here, gang. You know,
I noticed this morning that now the CEOs are like fighting on Twitter. The X-Real CEO is, posting against the Vichur, whatever. I got the old ones. They're good. They're 1080p. They're fine. So they have the mobile dock, and the other accessory, Steven, is an extension cable. They make an extension cable because I want to keep the mobile dock on my nightstand, and the default USB-C cable was like a little too short, and so I got one of their extensions so that I can play in bed, laying down, and basically play Mario Kart on the ceiling, and just have a comfortable length for the cable.
Okay.
The Vichur subreddit is very active.
Yes.
Very active.
It's been popping off since yesterday, as you can imagine. It's very confusing right now, what they announced. All of these companies are kind of confusing. And it's like, Mike, to give you an analogy that maybe sort of helps contextualize, these companies, all of them really, both X-Real and Vichur and Rokid is another, they share the same strategy as A&EO when it comes to handheld gaming. Like they just release one product after the other with very similar specs, but also some differences. It's kind of all over the place.
I mean, they have the top pinned post on the Vichur subreddit right now is a comparison chart.
Yeah. Yes.
Of the Pro Luma Pro.
Yeah.
they have a product called the Vichur Pro. Then they have a product called Vichur Luma. Then they have a product called Vichur Luma Pro.
Yes.
Those are 3 separate products. These aren't just one product. These are 3 separate products.
Then there's the Vichur. Then there's the Vichur Luma Ultra, which is described as the Beast of glasses, and then there's the Vichur Luma Beast.
No, sorry, it's the Vichur Beast.
Sorry, just Luma. Vichur Beast.
Even though it's Yeah, so that's Vicha Luma Series and Vicha Beast. And they're also shipping in like completely random
Yes,
times.
August, September, October, and December.
But like
Sure.
the $399 is September, the $499 is July, the $599 is August, and the $549 is October. It's like, what is happening? Man,
and
this is what happens when like companies they're trying to be a big deal, right? Like, so like they're trying to do a lot. And also the manufacturing is like, we're just getting this in where we can get it in. And like, when are we getting the parts? And we're putting them together and we're getting them out the door. And like, and so it's just like, it has the look of a big tech company, right? Because that's actually not too difficult to do now from a marketing perspective, right? There's so many examples out there that you can very easily have the look of like a well put together company. But then the strategy and the manufacturing and the marketing, that's actually still really hard to do right. Because there absolutely should not be 4 new versions of this product. Like,
No.
4 versions, and hold on, 2 sizes for each.
Jeez.
What do you need sizes for? Is that just
Well,
for the size of your face?
The size of your face and your IPD, which is your interpupillary distance. Like, which that's been a whole other thing for me. Like, I spent some time trying to understand, like, do I need to upgrade my glasses? Last night I was like, do I need to upgrade? And I tried to understand, like, so I checked my prescription to understand what's my IPD. And it seems like I'm right there at the limit of what Vicher considers the small versus the large size. They're saying that anything above, like, they're saying that the small size is up to a value of 66, and I'm 66.6 in my prescription, rounded to 67. And I'm like, I'm not even sure which glasses I'm supposed to buy. But then I realized, oh, most of these glasses, they have the same nits as before. And I basically would only get a resolution bump from, this is the other lovely thing that you're going to get a good chuckle about this one. They're saying that their new glasses are 4K-like, right? They're using the expression 4K-like, but the resolution is 1200p.
What does 4K like then? Does it just mean good? Like, what are they saying?
They're saying no. So a bunch of people asked them. All right, a bunch of people asked them on Reddit. It was like, these are 1200p. How can you say they're 4K like? And they're saying, well, no, because we had a bunch of people try the new glasses before the announcement, and they told us, wow, these feel like 4K.
Oh no.
So it's a roguelike. It's just a game that feels like Rogue. There's no actual we're not trying to bag on this company, but it's like, this is, for me specifically, right? Like, I don't understand this product class very much. So it's like, the more I look at this comparison chart, like, the less I understand. Like,
yes.
Like, the ways in which they differ from each other. Like, the things that they're telling me are features. Like, I don't understand, right? So, like, the Vicha Beast has built-in Vision Pair 3D OF.
Yeah.
One camera 60 OF to be enabled after launch. It's like, that is a selling point. And then the Vicha Luma Ultra does 60 OF, recommended, it says. Yeah. And that's it. And then supports Pro Neck Band. What is that?
Yeah, they sell a separate $500 thing that you put around your neck, and it's
why? What does that do?
it's like a little it's like a little Android phone, but in the shape of a neckband. It's got a little computer inside, and it does additional processing, and it has streaming apps, right? So Disney Plus, Netflix, YouTube, whatever. Look, it's all very confusing. I love this company.
They're on the cutting edge too, these companies,
yes.
right? Like, they absolutely are on the bleeding edge of this technology. Yes. So, like, I understand. I know that this is enthusiast technology. I should not be looking at this comparison chart because I'm not interested in buying this product. So, like, you know, I'm not doing it. It's like, I'm just trying to make fun of it. But it's like, it's funny to me just to look at it and be like, I don't know this world, right? Mm-hmm. And like, I know that if it's on a comparison chart, people that are on the subreddit, which is what this is made for, they're like excited about whatever, right?
Yes.
But it's just very funny to me to look at this and be like, I don't know what's going on. And it's great. I love it. Good luck to them, you know. And I know you like it, so I'm happy for you.
I really like the glasses. I really like both companies, honestly, both Vicher and Xreal. And I know that Xreal, they have a bunch of other announcements in September. So it's good to have. I think it's quite lovely to see this competition, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, these two companies are going to one up each other, and consumers benefit from that kind of
Yeah.
competition. And yeah, they're enthusiastic pieces of technology right now. But it's nice. It's nice to play Mario Kart on the ceiling. So at the end of the day, that's what matters. So yeah.
Speaking of, actually, so
Yeah.
Samsung Unpacked was today.
Yeah.
So this is when one of the two events that Samsung does a year, because Samsung kind of split their phone line. They do the foldables in the summer, and then they do it's spring, summer, and then they'll do the. Oh wait, no, it's the other way around, isn't it? They do the regular phones earlier in the year, and then they do the folding phones later in the year, right?
Yes, I think so.
The S25 came out already. So they had that today, and in Samsung's usual way, like you can watch the event, or you can just go watch the news outlets that you like that have videos on embargo time. And today was mostly about the Fold 7 and the Flip 7, so they're two main folding phones. The Flip 7, it's some interesting upgrades. It's the least exciting one. So this is the one that folds like an old flip phone. The biggest thing here is that the screen on the front of the phone is now all screen. It's not like a little part of it anymore. It's all screen. It's like a 4-inch screen. And there's some brewing controversy about the chip that's going to be in this phone. So they're moving to one of I think they're Samsung-made Exynos processors away from the Snapdragon, the Qualcomm processor. And so like this is going to be the brouhaha for the people that care about this product of like, what is that like? Because in past years, you would always compare the two phones, because Samsung used to ship Snapdragon and Exynos, depending on where you were in the world, and the Exynos processor basically always performed worse. So that would be interesting for people to look at. But the big story is the Fold 7. So this is the standard kind of book-like folding phone. And the kind of the headlines on it is it's super thin. When unfolded is like 4 millimeters or something, and when then folded, it's like about as thick as a regular phone. They've made the screen more usable on the front. It's bigger. It's again more like a regular phone. And when you open it up, it's like an 8-inch screen inside. And the cameras this time as well are closer to the top of the line cameras than they've been before. So it's $2,000 starting. So they've made it a little bit more expensive. What's $100 when you're already in for $1,900? You know what I mean? But like, really, again, it's like, what is interesting about this product is it's super thin, super light, very adaptable. It looks very cool, and yeah, I think it's exciting to see, because this is like, okay, getting closer and closer to this just being like a type of product people could own and not be and it not be weird, right?
Yeah, I think the Fold in particular, the thinness is really mind blowing. You should go check out the videos, and it means the camera bump is enormous. In terms of like the Z axis, there's a shot in the MKBHD video where it's on the table, and the rock that this phone has, like corner to corner, is just unbelievable. The other thing that really stood out to me on both phones, maybe more the Flip than the Fold, is the experience of using the outside screen has gotten much, much better on these. And now on the Flip, you are limited to sort of some pre-selected Samsung widgets. You can't run any app. It's not a full phone out there on the front. The Motorola Razr is a little more flexible in what you can do on the outside screen. But I think these phones are really compelling to use either open or closed. And that was not the case in the beginning, right? The beginning wasn't that useful to use closed, and you were kind of always opening it. And I would imagine now you can do many more things with it closed and then open it when you just need to do something with more real estate. And
I'm really surprised that I didn't know that actually. Like, I didn't notice it in the coverage that I looked at, that it's still not letting you access anything. That's a weird choice considering how big the screen is.
Yeah, because it's 4.1 inches now on the outside screen on the Flip, which is, the original iPhone was what, 3.5 inches. The resolution and the Everything's obviously all very different, but it's just
Yeah, it
kind of
wasn't
funny.
a square. The old
It
iPhone
wasn't
wasn't a
exactly. It
square.
was the aspect ratio a little bit different. But yeah, they've come a long way, and it makes me excited to see what Apple could do here, especially in the fold sort of form factor. The flip is, I think, a little less interesting to me personally.
My favorite thing that I see when people are like talking about I see articles written about the potential future Apple folding phone, they all say like without a crease. Like they were like, oh, it won't have a crease. I don't know where this started, but like it's just one of those rumors that just perpetuates and becomes a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not possible. Like you need to stop thinking about that, right? Like it folds in half. It will have a crease. It will. Like it might be good. Like it might look fine. And there's the thing: these phones look fine. They all look fine now. Like the crease is absolutely not a noticeable thing when you use them. I just find it really funny. It's like no crease. It's like, but how will the screen fold then?
Mm-hmm.
How will that happen? Like there will be a crease if you put it under like a lamp and like look at it from an angle. Like you'll see it. But it just isn't an issue anymore. Like the first folding phone, you could feel it, right? You run your finger across it, you could feel it, and they get dust caught in them and they break. But like it's not really a problem anymore in the way that people think about it. Would you agree with that, Federico?
Yeah. I don't think right now, having seen what just the market is putting out, I don't think there's, physically speaking, a way to avoid a crease when you're folding a panel of this kind. So unless Apple really has some major exclusive breakthrough that Samsung did not use in its own products, hey, happy to be proven wrong. But I think Apple probably found ways to mitigate the crease as much as possible, but at some point you're bumping up against what the market is currently offering in the supply chain, and also just the laws of physics. If you're going to fold something, you're most likely going to have a crease when it's unfolded. So
because I guess unlike some other areas in which Apple have innovated in the past, this really does rely on Samsung and LG, I guess. It's like, what is the discrete panel technology available to you? And then I guess, I don't know, maybe, you know what though? Like maybe they have something going on with Corning, right?
Maybe.
Because they get like, they invested a lot of money into them, right? So they could get first dibs on technology. So maybe there's some kind of covering that Corning is creating that would mitigate it in some way. But I still I don't buy it. Like, but I also don't think it's the problem that people think it is either, right? That like I just think that creases aren't an issue anymore. But it's just a thing that I find to be funny. But this I would like to try the Fold 7. Just I would like to see how it feels to use. You know, like I continue to be really impressed in using the Google Fold, the Pixel Fold that I have. That I use it mostly like a regular phone, and then I open it up when I want to. But I'm still aware of the fact that it is thicker than a regular phone, right? So I'm really intrigued to try one of these products where it is essentially as thin, or like close to as thin as a regular phone, and just to see what that feels like. I think that'd be pretty cool.
The thing I care more about than the can I tell where the crease is just the longevity and durability of these devices. I know that's also come a long way. I mean, early Samsung Folds got destroyed by, 1 grain of bread put inside them, and then the screens exploded. Much like my own body, really. 1 grain of bread and things explode. But that has come a long way. But in the meantime, regular slab phones have also become more resilient to water and dust and those things. And that's something that I would be a little worried about in terms of a daily phone. I know people who use these, maybe it's not as big of a deal as it seems, but I think that's something that Apple would probably at least want to try to improve as well.
Yeah, I don't know what the water ratings and stuff are on these devices. It's a good question. Like, what are they rated to be able to stand? IP48.
It's not great.
The Z Fold. I don't know what that does. What is 48? 48 protected against solid objects larger than a millimeter, can withstand continuous immersion in water for up to 1.5 meters deep for 30 minutes. IP48 offers water resistance. It does not necessarily mean the device is dust resistant.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I just read that from Google's AI overview, so do with that what you will. You know what I mean? That's up to you to do your own research on that one.
Okay.
But there is an element of water resistance, but dust resistance is probably going to be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by ZocDoc. As you get older, you might find yourself thinking, I should go to the doctor more. You know the things to look for, like sleep trouble, back pain, or maybe work stress. But it can be tough to actually get to the doctor. We all want to stay healthy, but it can be hard to find the right doc for your needs. Until ZocDoc, because they make it easy to find the right fit and book an appointment fast directly on their website. ZocDoc is a free site and app where you can search and compare high-quality, in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 100,000 doctors across every specialty: mental health, dental health, primary care, urgent care, and more. You can filter for doctors who take your insurance, are located nearby, or are a good fit for any medical need you may have, and who are highly rated by verified patients. Once you find the right doctor, you can see their actual appointment openings, choose a time slot that works for you, and click to instantly book a visit. Appointments made through ZocDoc happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. And more often than not, you can even get same-day appointments. So if you've moved, have something new going on, or it's just time for a change, check out ZocDoc. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/connected to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/connected. Our thanks to ZocDoc for their support of the show and all of Relay.
So we have the third developer beta of iOS 26 and all the other 26 series of operating systems. And I'm guessing the big news here, the narrative right now is what Apple is doing with or to liquid glass, in the sense that Apple has been tweaking liquid glass, and in beta 3 we have, in a bunch of different places and especially on iOS, a general toning down of some of the glassy effects of liquid glass. Essentially now in some appearances of liquid glass and in some apps only, there is more of a frosted look to the glass rather than a heavily translucent look. This has been as you can imagine, a cause for debate online, where some people, including myself, think this is an improvement over some of the previous elements of liquid glass that made some parts of iOS kind of hard to read, some definite legibility issues in the first two betas. And there are some other people who have a point, by the way, I think, who are saying, well, but by doing this, you are essentially undoing what made liquid glass unique and visually stand out in the first few betas. You know, that extreme glassy, translucent, liquid look of the floating top bars that were reflecting and refracting everything underneath. Now everything looks a little more opaque, a little more frosted. Not as much content is reflecting through as it did in the first two betas. There is, and Stephen, you will appreciate this, there is some historical precedent here to consider. 12 years ago, in the third beta of iOS 7, Apple also undid some of the most extreme decisions of iOS 7 at the time. Beta 3 of iOS 7, that's when they made the fonts a little bit thicker, for example. So they dropped the Helvetica new ultra thin font, and they just went for a thin, but not the ultra thin version, I believe. And they made some other fonts slightly bolder, that kind of stuff. And I remember at the time, some people were saying, no, I love the ultra thin, ultra minimal look of iOS 7. And eventually Apple sort of landed somewhere in the middle. And then, of course, they spent the better part of a decade sort of evolving that iOS 7 design language. So we're going through all of this again, essentially. We're living through this again. What I want to bring to the show, however, is this idea, this idea that I cannot sort of shake right now, which is liquid glass the sort of design language that you can iterate upon, that you can improve without compromising its nature and its whole marketing shtick?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's also how I feel.
It's just really, it feels really complicated. I mean, you just have all these different tensions in these conversations, right? You have what Apple worked on seemingly for a long time, I would hope. You have what they announced, you have what they shipped, and then you have how people responded to it. And I don't know, that's a very hard thing, I'm sure, to manage if you're at Apple and you're trying to sort through what's working and what's not working now that people have access to this. I don't envy it. I don't envy trying to sort through all that, but I think no matter what they do, they're kind of going to be in trouble with somebody.
I'm a little bummed out about this, if I'm being honest. I'm a little bit frustrated about it, really. I feel like it or not, they had a thing that they were doing, and I feel like where they're going is just undoing that. And so it's like, so what was the point? And I worry now that they have reacted to criticism maybe too far and not necessarily like fixing it, right? Because I don't know what the fix is, but I would just, I don't think anybody really knows. Lots of people have lots of ideas about what the fixes are, but it doesn't necessarily work like that. I feel like they had a thing that they were trying to do, and I think that now they've moved further away from that. And so it's like, so why did we do this then in the first place, right? Like, if your only way to fix the readability of liquid glass was to not really make it like glassy anymore, it's to kind of like frost it, then why did we ever start there? Right? Like, if you didn't have a plan, right, to like make it work, how did we get there in the first place? That's kind of like the way that I feel about it. So I'm like a little bit frustrated that if we continue going down this path where they're just like really, really toning it down, it's like, well, we're not really doing a redesign then, are we? Like, we're just like, where are we on this scale? So
this is useful because I've been thinking about how to write about liquid glass, how to approach liquid glass. And the thing I'm sort of been struggling with, and I always do struggle with writing about design. I think as a person, as a writer, I prefer writing about using stuff rather than talking about how stuff looks. But it's part of my job and I got to do it. So I'm thinking about it. And this question that I keep going back to is, I'm thinking of a good way to phrase it. What is it about liquid glass beyond looking like liquid glass? Like, by that I mean, iOS 7 was a complete makeover of what interfaces were supposed to look like, right? Now we're not having that complete makeover here. Like the way, by and large, we still have that sort of like neutral, flat aesthetic in user interfaces. So we're changing the look of some of the elements, some of the UI chrome around content. But what is it about Liquid? Is there anything else to Liquid Glass beyond the fact that it looks like Liquid Glass?
Why does there need? No, sorry. Does there need to be?
Yeah, that's yes. That is exactly what I wrote today in my notes. Like when we talk about Apple design, when we talk about design in general, right? One can make the argument that nice things in life, and I'm generalizing here, but stay with me. One could argue that in life, nice things are just supposed to look like nice things, right? People buy expensive sneakers or jewelry or a painting, whatever, because it looks good and it doesn't serve any purpose, right? And one could say that art is useless, but it's also good for the soul in many ways, right? It's not supposed to serve any functional purpose. So if you look at Liquid Glass through that lens, you can say, well, it's not supposed to be anything more than it is. It's just liquid glass. But are we talking about a painting here, or are we talking about an operating system for a computer that you're supposed to use? Should we approach this from a simple almost artistic standpoint? Like just evaluate and judge the visual merits of it? Or should we consider software design something in the middle of it's supposed to look nice, it's supposed to be usable, and it's supposed to be functional? And I'm struggling with that. And I'm struggling in coming to terms with that definition. Like, how am I supposed to evaluate a design that, by and large, beyond how it looks, it's just that. It's how it looks.
I think there is nothing wrong with them doing a redesign just to look better or like to look different. I think that is perfectly valid as a thing.
Okay.
I don't, obviously, and what they're fighting against right now is the belief, the perception, or the reality, or any combination of the three, that iOS 26 is less usable, right?
And that's my point. Like, I get the argument that, hey, make something nice, and that's all there is to it. It looks nice. Yeah. And I do think that Liquid Glass looks, especially the first version, looked beautiful. Like, I think it is a marvel what they've been able to achieve. How it animates in real time on a phone, at 120 hertz, looks fantastic. But what happens when that makes something less legible, for example?
Yeah, I think that there is a legibility scale, right, for the average person.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've got to find their spot on that scale. I think that they could push it back a little bit further than where they've ended up, and it would be good. And then they've just got to work on, and they already do, but they've just got to work on having the accessibility stuff for people that need that. I think that there is a way to still get this to be fun and exciting and look really good and be legible. Like, I don't know what that answer is, but I have full faith that they can work it out. But I hope that they do, because I just think I would be really disappointed if we end up with something that looks like essentially like iOS 18.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's a bit more rounded. Like, that would be really disappointing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. 'Cause I liked a lot of it, even knowing that it was problematic from a legibility standpoint in places. I think part of this debate, well, two things. One, I think part of this debate is happening because Apple themselves didn't do a very good job explaining why they did it.
Strong agree. Yes.
I rewatched that Liquid Glass video a couple of times, and I think I said this last time. Went back and rewatched the Aqua introduction, And there are parts of the Aqua introduction where Jobs is like, yeah, it looks sick. Like, look how cool this is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all weaved through there are like little examples of why things were the way that they were. And this, it kind of feels as coming from somebody who generally liked it in beta 1 and beta 2, as a, well, we thought like we just did it because it was cool and there's no real like reason behind it. And to Federico's point, and you also said this on App Stories too, I think iOS 18 and 26 are the same structurally. Like this doesn't
Yes.
introduce any new paradigms outside of maybe tab bars can be like closed off on the side and then expand. But that's really basically it.
Which also, like, it's one of the most annoying things about Liquid Glass, in my opinion, is that now every single time I'm using music, for example, I gotta tap twice to change sections.
I don't like it in
conversation
Safari. Safari, it really bothers me.
There are some stuff like the popovers becoming better laid out.
Yeah, they're
and, like,
nicer. They're nicer for sure.
But these aren't Liquid Glass things. Right?
Yeah.
Like, because there are like a bunch of things in the system. It's like, oh, this is laid out better. Like the share sheet's better. But like, that's not Liquid Glass. That's just an operating system update.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You just moved the way things were. Like, it didn't need this to do that. Like, you've not enabled something that
Right.
couldn't have existed otherwise.
Yeah, so that was kind of thought one. The second thing that I wanted to comment on, I've seen a lot of people, especially on Threads. My Threads algorithm is basically people with takes on Apple design, which is fantastic.
Okay.
It could be way worse, so I'll take it. A lot of people have suggested, well, Apple just needs a slider. And on one end is opaque and the other end is transparent and the user can choose. And from a certain point of view, that's not a bad idea. If that's how I think you can handle accessibility in a much smarter way than that. But
no, I think that's a bad idea. I think that's.
I do.
Like
I mean, I do too. Like I see how people get there.
Yeah.
But that's not design. That's handing the tools over to the user in a way that actually doesn't make any sense and would make the lives of developers really difficult.
Yes.
And so I don't think that's a solution either.
Here's a question. Here's a question. In a thankfully more accessible and inclusive world, thankfully and hopefully, it should be more accessible and inclusive. Is there still room for really, really opinionated design?
If you were going for maximum accessibility, no. Right? Like I feel like just on the face of that question, my answer would be if you were going for absolute maximum accessibility without any tweaks, right? Like that's kind of what we're saying here. That like there's no settings, right? Like it's just the UI works for everyone. I mean, even then color is a problem, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I actually think that's not possible. I actually don't think you could do it because I don't think anyone can fully conceive of every accessibility request on their own, right? Like I don't think you can really you can't be daring at least, can you? Right? Like you can't be like, oh, I'm going to do something new because how do you know if that's going to work for everybody?
Yeah, I guess what I was trying to infer with that was, I think it was maybe easier for Apple to be the really opinionated design company when they were not operating at this scale.
Absolutely, yes.
And now, what I think Liquid Glass is emblematic of that, in the sense that they try to do something pretty opinionated. I think, why don't we make every UI element behave, from a physics perspective, somewhere in the middle of a liquid and glass. That's a pretty cool idea. But then you're bumping up against the reality of so many different people using all of your products because you're doing this design across the entire lineup and giving you feedback, right? And so how, like right now, I want to see when I'm guessing that the public beta will come out next week. I don't know. But I want to see whatever they end up doing, because I feel like right now they have all this feedback coming in from people saying, no, it's not accessible enough, or no, I preferred it better in beta 1. And people are saying, it kind of looks the same. And anecdotally speaking, I'll give you 2 examples. When I came back from WWDC, I showed my phone running beta 1 of 26 with Liquid Glass to Sylvia. And so I was, showing off the UI, the top bars, notifications, and all of that. And she literally said in Italian, I'm translating, she literally said, "Oh, that's cool, but why?" So that was her first question. And then I went to see my friends. I was like, "Oh, do you have the new iOS?" I was like, yeah, sure. Let me demo it for you. And they were looking at it, and they said, "Oh, but it doesn't look that different." So,
but that's a win, right?
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Because people that care will know, right? And I think that's what they're working for at this point, right? Because they can't, again, do what they did for iOS 7. You can't, for the reason you just mentioned. Too big now. They can't be like, hey, it's all changed, right? Like, what's a button? What about a word? Like, they can't do that anymore, right? So, like, it actually is beneficial if you get somewhere along the line of, okay, that looks nice, or I don't see this. Like, that's essentially where they need to be operating within, which is why I think they went with, it's not a structural redesign. Yeah. It's not like a whole new way to use apps, because they know they're not going to get people to get on board with that. It's like
a material.
Button, like, that's it. Yeah, it's a material, right? And the material meaning, like, the UI looks different. Here's where I wish, I have two thoughts that have been going on in my head listening to you talk, right? Like, one, going back to what you said, Stephen, about the introduction. I wish they would have had the conviction to just say, hey, we think this looks cool, and so we want to do this, right? Yeah. I wish they would have just done that. And I feel like what we saw was the result of too much internal arguing about how to sell this to customers.
What we saw was a guy holding a bunch of glass objects over pieces of paper.
And that's what we saw. That's the argument. I think that is the result of, like, they can't just say, we think this looks nice. They have to be like, we observe real life. Like, they have to really make it more, because they have to try and tell you there's a reason. And I also feel like at this point, I wish that they would have said, we have a new UI material. It's called Liquid. That's it. And just really went heavy on the animation. Yeah. And like, everything's moving around and it's all fun. If they would have just not had the transparency, which I know they desperately want to do, but if they would have not had any transparency, we wouldn't be in this mess, right? Because it's like, even now, right? Like, people are like, beta 3 has fixed it. I still can't read my notifications.
Yeah, the lock screen is still...
Yeah. It's not fixed.
A bit of a miss.
It's just they are scrambling right now, right?
I'm telling you, I really do think they're gonna put in a toggle. They're gonna opt you in by default into Liquid Glass, but you're gonna be a toggle to turn it off.
But what are you turning it off to?
To turn off all the transparent to what you said, iOS 18 but rounder. There's no way to fix it. Here's my concern. There's no way. I personally don't think there is a way to fix this design without undoing this design. That's the problem.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying you're right. I can see what you're saying.
So either go all the way in.
I can't imagine them doing it. I just cannot imagine them shipping a UI and being like, hey, do you want it on? Like, I just can't imagine it. Like, it seems, like, I know if they change it, but that just seems like absolutely counter to what I think they are as a company, right? Because there are, like, legit things that they should make settings for that, like, would be very helpful that they just don't do, right? And so, like, to imagine them like, hey, we're going to give you an option, and it's to turn off the UI. It's just like, oh, man.
But also, like you said, it's not the UI, it's the material. Like, it's not like what I'm saying. It's not like I see in the Discord, and that's a good comment, actually. Like, imagine if iOS 7 had a toggle for flat or skeuomorphic. Like, but it's not that, right? We're not looking at a massive ground up redesign like iOS 7. Like we said, we're looking at a material. And either, I think it's as easy as saying, look, do you want to use the material or not? So if you want to use it, go all the way and use it. Like it's liquid, it's glass, it's transparent, Or
I think
you
something that's
don't.
really important to remember about iOS 7, right, is that one of the reasons that needed to happen is because app design became too hard.
Yeah.
Right? That like to make a really good app, you also had to be an excellent visual designer. And you don't have to be that anymore, right? And that was like a prerequisite to having a good app. It's like your textures have to be good. You know what? It was too hard. Like app design became too complicated. And then so they stripped it all out, took it back to basics, and made it simple again, right? And like now they're adding interesting visual design stuff for everyone to just adopt, right? Like it's just going to do its thing. Like, I don't know, man. I find myself in a bit of despair about this because I really wonder, like we can't know. Are they paying too much attention to designers on Threads? And that if they shipped this, and I will count us and all of our listeners in that bucket, right? We cannot know if they just shipped this, what would happen, right? Would people accept it? Like we just don't know. And Underscore has made this point in a bunch of places, and I'm sure he's made it to you, Stephen. He's made it to me, and he said it on the talk show. The problem that Apple have is 10% of their audience don't like it. It's 100 million people. That's too many people.
Yeah.
And so, but at the same time, does that mean they can't make any daring moves anymore? That's not fun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I'm struggling with. It all goes back to that. Like, can you be daring? Can you be opinionated? Can you be, the kind of company that says, hey, we think this looks cool, it's different, and you're going to like it. Can you still do that? Or do you just want to make everybody happy? And when you make everybody happy, it's hard to be the person that it's hard to be the kind of company that makes somebody unhappy.
You can do it. You've just got to be willing to grit your teeth when you do it.
Oh, sure.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Right? You got to be willing to lose 10% of your customer base. You got to be willing to accept the headlines on CNN that you're which when it comes to hardware, they do, right? We'll do this, we'll do that, right?
And I'm guessing that right now, like I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm guessing that right now, Apple PR must not like the headlines that have been going around saying Apple nerfed liquid glass, Apple toned down liquid glass. It's like, what's happening here? Just a month ago, we made a big deal out of liquid glass. Now all the press is saying that we got rid of liquid glass. These things, they tend to snowball quickly. I can, we can have a little bet between us going on that if I go down to Sylvia's school right now and I talk to my friends, somebody's going to come up to me and be like, Ticci, did I hear that Apple got rid of liquid glass?
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Yep.
So if for Apple PR, maybe you don't necessarily love this right now. So, man, I wouldn't want to be Alan Dye right now. Or maybe I would, given the paycheck. I don't know.
Alan Dye is on Instagram now. Have you seen Alan Dye on Instagram?
I saw Alan Dye on Instagram was recommended to me.
Me too. He's a good follow, actually. Okay, let me rephrase that. You know what? He's a good follow if you like liquid glass. How about that? Because he's someone who cares deeply about design, and so at the moment he's just going to a bunch of fashion shows. And so if you like that, follow him. If you don't.
Followed.
I'm pretty sure it's him. I'm pretty sure it's him.
I mean, he's followed by some people I know who work at Apple.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. My thing was there were people that I know who work on design at Apple that were following him. So I'm like, I'm gonna guess this is him, but who knows, right? This stuff has happened in the past. He only has 2,000 followers. So what if we get the passionate ones to give him a bit of a boost? You know, kind of help the guy out.
Yeah.
Help the guy out.
Oh
boy,
he's gonna get a new boss. It sounds like.
Yeah, right. I know.
Yeah.
Okay, should we talk about that?
Yeah,
sure.
That was my transition.
It was a good one. It was a good one.
Late yesterday, Apple announced a chief operating officer transition. Reading from Apple Newsroom. Jeff Williams will continue reporting to Apple CEO Tim Cook and overseeing Apple's world-class design team and Apple Watch alongside the company's health initiatives. Initially, that said Heath Initiatives. They had a typo in their first Newsroom release. It was kind of funny. And then Apple's design team will transition to reporting to Cook after Williams retires later in the year. This is a little bit different, it seems like, than what happened to Phil Schiller and Luca Maestri, the former CFO. Phil Schiller was advanced to Apple Fellow, which is like an honor Apple has had since the 80s. He's still around doing App Store and event stuff, but the role of Senior Vice President of Worldwide Marketing went to Jaws. Luca Maestri transitioned from his role as CFO in 2024, but is still at Apple doing other things, and there's a new CFO. Seems like Williams is just straight up retiring, which is good for him.
Yeah.
Curious. It's curious.
Is it?
I don't know. I think so. It's interesting. This doesn't. Well, you've just listed off a bunch of people, right?
Yeah.
Who haven't
actually retired?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe Williams saw a bunch of these guys who were like halfway out the door and decided that wasn't.
I don't want that.
I don't want that. I don't think Phil Schiller's halfway out the door. Like I reread that piece last night.
No. Schiller's just like, let me stop doing some of the stuff that I'm doing every day, and I just want to do what I want to do, and like walk around and like pick up some projects and like do this, do that. Right?
And I think so. I think on a spectrum, you have Phil Schiller on one end, just doing what he wants to. He's been there a million years. They let him do it. You have Luca in the middle, a CFO. Maybe some stuff happened. Maybe he is on his way to retirement, but there's a new CFO, but he's still around. He's working for the new CFO. That's kind of weird. And then the other end, you have Williams, who is going to retire. The design team is going to answer to Tim, which means for the first time in a long time, the design team actually answers to the CEO and not the COO. Because Williams took over. There's a piece John Gruber wrote, we'll have in the show notes, talking about that transition a few years ago when Ive left and Williams started overseeing the design team. So there was a layer between design and CEO.
I actually would like to add Johnny Ive into your scale of executives leaving, where the end of the scale is executive leaves and they say they're going to keep working together but never do.
Yes.
That's the far end of the scale past retirement, which is like he's leaving and we promise we still love each other and we're never going to speak again.
And then you get bought by Sam Altman.
And then he directly competes with us, having never worked with us.
We're not just friends, we're enemies.
It keeps going all the way past.
Yeah, so different people kind of do this in different ways. It seems like Jeff Williams is doing it in the most traditional way, right? That, hey, I'm announcing this. A big company like this, you have to announce it in advance. This is what's going to happen. We're explaining the transition. The Apple Watch and the health initiative stuff is not further explained in the press release. And my guess is they're just going to return to kind of the way other products are run, where you have software under Craig Federighi, you have hardware under Daddy Jeff Turnus, and it's kind of back to normal. And in a way, the Apple Watch has been. Did I say Jeff? I meant John.
You said Jeff. Call Daddy by his real name, please.
Sorry,
don't mind.
Daddy Turnus. So I think that the Apple Watch has been a bit of an outlier in comparison to the Mac and the iPhone and the iPad. And it's my guess is it's going to kind of be in line with the other platforms. And I mean, the Apple Watch is 10 years old now. I think it's time to kind of be with its siblings and not its own thing, right? We saw this repeated actually with Mike Rockwell and the Vision Pro, where the Vision Pro was almost kind of in this incubator run by Rockwell, and it's still kind of its own thing, right? Rockwell has now moved to AI. We don't have to talk about what's happening in Apple's AI organization, but people have gotten sniped by Meta. And I suspect the Vision Pro will kind of still be on its own a little bit, and then maybe 10 years from now will come into the fold with the others. But yeah, that's what's going on with Jeff Williams. And I say, good job, Jeff Williams. Enjoy the time off.
All right, I have some thoughts about this.
Mm-hmm.
So one, when is he stepping away from COO? Is that actually said, or is it just like it's happening?
So the Khan Sabi, I don't know how to pronounce it.
We're gonna go with Sabi Khan. We're gonna go with Sabi Khan for now.
So Sabi Khan will be COO later this month.
Okay, so that's happening essentially immediately.
Yes.
And then later in the year, Williams retires.
Then design, Apple Watch, and health will go to their new owners, if you will.
So my prediction is that this is the beginning of significant change. I do not think design will go directly to Tim Cook. Someone's going to go in the middle. Someone's going in the middle.
I mean, there is not, to Gruber's article, there has not been, Alan Dye would be that person, but he's not that person right now.
Yes.
Which is a little bit weird.
I mean, I think the problem was when Johnny left, there were two people.
Yeah.
Right? It was Evans Hankey and Alan Dye.
Yep.
So you're not going to have two people report to Tim about design. So they put it under, for some reason, a reason we don't know, they put it under Williams. Now, we don't know why.
My guess is that they wanted somebody who could take over for Tim if something happened to Tim. But I don't know.
Whatever. Like, we don't know why they chose Jeff Williams, right? In theory, the design leads could have fed into anyone because it doesn't make any sense.
Jeff Williams,
right? Like, it doesn't make any sense to have design go to the chief operating officer. So you could have had it go to the chief legal officer. Like, it doesn't make any, right? Like, we don't know. They chose, there was a reason. We don't know what that reason was, right? Like, it's not made clear to us. So I think someone fits into a role that interfaces between design and the CEO.
Maybe.
Whether it's Alan Dye or they bring someone else in or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I just don't think it will go that way. Like the way, like there will be somebody's face on the page, which it isn't right now. That's part one. And then I think that there are going to be further shuffles with of how this ends up. Like, because, well, who looks after Apple Watch then? Right? Like, we don't know what that is.
Yeah. There will be somebody, who if you watch the keynotes and they introduce a new Mac, right? It's like the Mac product manager, and it's been the same kind of handful of people for several years. It's also interesting that Alan Dye is only a vice president. He's not an SVP. Maybe he gets promoted and he becomes that person. I don't know.
I mean, maybe not now. Right? Like, if Liquid Glass doesn't ship, I don't know if we're gonna. I'm not trying to make a joke, right? But like, if Liquid Glass doesn't work,
if it cracks,
I mean, that wouldn't look, if it cracks, it wouldn't look great for him if he wanted to then become like essentially who is the executive in charge of design from like a operational level, I suppose. Like, but I don't know. Like, it's just
maybe
pure speculation. I just think that like there's been so much change this year. I think that it gives them the opportunity to shift some stuff around.
Yeah.
If anything, they should retake the pictures because half of these people don't even look like this anymore.
No, I had that thought too. Actually, it's like some of these photos are pretty old.
Tim and Craig, they don't look like that anymore.
No,
they just don't look like that anymore.
No, that's really funny. Yeah, I think you're right. There'll be more shuffling. I think that's probably inevitable. And to kind of loop back a second, Khan has been at Apple a really long time and has been in the operations organization for a long time. Like it seems like a really good fit for the COO. I don't think it inserts him into the line of succession. He's only a couple of years younger than Williams and Cook. A bunch of these people are into their 60s now. I think Khan is 58. I still think Turnus is probably my pick for the next CEO. But this sets Apple up to continue on their path of, worldwide operations that are probably increasingly complicated in the world. Another job I don't envy.
It's like an episode of Succession over here,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the eldest designer.
Yes, I am the
One of
eldest
those.
designer.
There will never be. What was Ives' role? Chief design officer.
Design officer,
Like, that's not ever happening again.
But it should, though.
It probably should. I don't.
Actually, not at a C level. Not at a C level. But there should be a senior vice president of design on this page. And there isn't one.
Yeah.
Like, why does software engineering get that?
Yeah. I think if Dai is going to continue to the design team, I think you've got to make him an SVP. I don't actually agree with all the stuff he has done. I think there are a lot of things we could discuss that maybe could be better in the human design team and the work they've produced. But it is weird that he doesn't have the same seat at the table as Craig and Turnus and
I don't
Eddie
agree
Q.
with that line of thinking. Like there are many of our friends who make that point way harder. But it's like, so should John Turnus have been stripped of his position when there weren't enough USB ports on the MacBook?
No.
You know what I mean? Like Alan Dye, if Alan Dye is running design, he should be the SVP for design. I don't know what his title is. Like
it's
his
vice
title
president.
VP?
So in the WWDC press release about Liquid Glass,
Right.
he is named Apple's vice president of human interface design.
Because it's just fascinating that Johnny Ive sat like second on this page. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they're like, oh no, there can never be another. Well, you can't say that, right? Like Apple needs to give off, I believe, they need to give off the impression that they have someone who's just as good. Right?
Yeah.
That seems logical to me. I
Also,
don't know.
who's in charge of industrial design? If Alan Dye is human interface design, like who's making the aluminum stuff?
Isn't that John Turnus though?
I guess
I know they
so.
call it hardware engineering, but
Yeah, I guess so.
I think, yeah.
I think a lot of this is so to wind the clock back a little bit. Steve Jobs passes away. Tim Cook takes over. He's not a product guy.
Mm-hmm.
You have that. So you give Johnny Ive the Apple Watch. He makes a gold one. And then Johnny Ive wants to move on out of boredom, out of disagreement with Tim Cook. If you read, depending on what books you read and what books you believe, how spicy that relationship was. They elevate Johnny Ive to chief design officer. They let him design Apple Park. They try to keep him, right? They basically let him do what he wants to do. He leaves. They undo a bunch of that stuff in the products. And I think Apple's leadership has been in the position, maybe not now, but at least in last several years, as a knee-jerk reaction to all of that stuff. And saying, actually, last time we let a designer be all powerful, a bunch of things happened that no one liked. And maybe you've got software and hardware people, trying to drive more of that. And so design has been downgraded in the leadership status because of the fallout of the Johnny Ive stuff. And I think it's just time to move on. I think for a company who says design is as important as they say it is, you've got to have somebody at the table with the same pay and the same title as all these other people. Or what inevitably will happen is you will continue to lose to designers. Maybe not to Johnny Ive and Love From and IO. That's where a lot of those people are. But you will lose somebody like Alan Dye or whoever his position is if you keep him as a vice president and don't elevate him to the same as his peers.
Jason provides some good follow-up that Molly Anderson is the head of the industrial design team.
Okay.
I don't know why these people don't... Like, why is engineering...
Why are these people not shown anywhere on the
Because
Apple
I guess,
website?
again, like Alan Dye, Anderson is a VP, not an SVP, but like why Does engineering get an SVP role and design doesn't?
Why don't we see that industrial design person introduce the new Tiny Mac Mini? Why is it turned? It's like, why? And maybe they don't want to be on camera. Like, there's going to be lots of reasons. It just feels like there's an imbalance here that, again, feels like an echo of the Johnny Ive fiasco.
Yeah, that's weird.
It is weird. And, you know, and we only know part of it, right? We don't know all the internal politics and stuff, which I'm sure there are many, many layers to. But I do think, you know the meme of like the small domino and the big domino. Like Jeff Williams leaving feels like it could be a small domino. And in a year from now or 2 years from now, we're going to be able to look back and see, oh, this set off a lot of other changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The domino is going to look like Jeff Williams leaving. And the big domino is going to be like liquid glass only lasts 2 years.
Yeah, it was actually Jeff's. This is it. This is not true.
Oh,
We're in a 4-store situation again. It's like, this was Jeff's baby. And he's like, you know what? You get out of here.
Yeah.
Look what they're saying on Threads. Get out of here, Jeff. And now he's had to retire.
The people are mad at you on the subreddits.
Get out of here. Go spend time with your family.
But yeah, I mean, good for him. Like I was texting with Jason last night about this in a group thread with you, Mike, and like all of these, like Schiller, Luca, like all of these people, if they weren't like type A workaholics, they could all do what Jeff is doing. Right. And, you know, I really hope there's not like a sad reason that Jeff's doing this, right? I hope it's a happy and good thing for him and his family, and he gets to enjoy years of retirement with them. Because all of these people have enough money to do that, right? They're not, most of them are not doing it, to our point earlier. But, you know, he's retiring the way that I think most of us kind of think about retirement. Like, yeah, I've got some money, I've got some stability. I want to go spend time with my kids and grandkids. Like he numbers, like he's like at 5 and counting grandkids. Like I love that sentence in there. It's like the most human thing to come out of an Apple newsroom post in years. It's like, yeah, this guy's just going to go be a dad and granddad. And that's pretty cool. And I think more people at the top of Apple should maybe look into that. And now it's time to retire this episode.
This episode's going to go spend more time with its grandkids.
Pull a Jeff Williams, as they say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So there's a bunch of links in the show notes. They're also on the web at relay.fm/connected/560. A couple of links I want to draw your attention to. One is to leave us feedback or follow up. You can make it anonymous if you want to. So, you know, Alan Dye, if you want to come tell us about liquid glass anonymously, just click that
Why
box.
you're not an SVP also.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Or you could slide into my DMs. I follow you on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Whatever works for you.
Send us the receipts. Is what we're saying. Is that how that phrase is used? I don't.
Which receipts, Stephen? What are you exactly are you referring to?
You know, the liquid glass ones.
Yeah, he heard this expression somewhere. And
he heard one of his kids say it, and he's like, "Oh, I'll use that. That sounds good."
It's on fleek.
Hey.
Oh God.
Oh jeez. All right, you have to take 1 week off now.
I am. That's the plan.
You're banned for a week.
This is the last thing I'm doing before a week of vacation. Is this outro right here? Can you tell? It feels like it's coming through a little bit.
It's like you don't want to let it go. You know, you just want to stay here with us.
Hey, if you like this podcast and you like a longer version of it, maybe without the ads, check out Connected Pro. That link is also in the show notes. It's $7 a month. That money supports us directly. You get an ad-free, longer version of the show. This week, we talked about passkeys. Some people may not like what we said. Some people may agree with it. If you want to know what we said, go sign up for Connected Pro. You also get a bunch of cool perks from Relay, access to the members-only Discord, which is my favorite place on the internet, a newsletter, some wallpapers, some members-only podcasts, lots of great stuff. Go check it out. If you want more of us, we are on the internet. Federico is the editor-in-chief of MacStories.net. And go check out their new or their updated setup page that we talked about. It's really cool. Mike is the host of many other shows on Relay. You can check out his work at Cortex Brand. And he blogs at theenthusiast.net.
Why does it need so much? Just say it. Say it like you say it for Federico.
It needs the enthusiasm.
You know what? Fair enough. I brought this on myself.
You did. If you named it something else, I'd say it differently.
What if I was like, oh, the boring one?
Yeah.
Are you
should have called it
are you going to get a logo at some point?
Yeah.
It's just text up there. It's freaking me out.
It's just text up there. Yeah, it's just text up there.
Just make one with ChatGPT. Oh god.
Vibe logo. Let me go vibe logo.
Yeah.
I would say Steven did. He sent me one the other day. It was terrible.
It was really bad.
It was terrible.
I would say
I made a logo
if
for
you have ideas,
and I knew what that meant. I knew what that meant when you sent me that. I knew what that meant.
Yeah. If you have ideas for a logo for Mike, maybe let him know.
Nope. Don't do that because Steven, do you know why that's bad? Wow, Steven, I can't believe you're telling people they should do spec work for free. Wow,
No,
Steven,
I didn't
that's
say
so
send
terrible.
work. I said send ideas.
Wow.
Just send words.
Wow, Steven. That's so bad. Wow, Steven.
Send fully finalized vector images.
Yeah. Pete, send PSD files only.
Yeah. That'd be a rasterized image. You want a vector for a logo, but it's fine.
I don't know what I need. Whenever I have a logo, it will be a JPEG. All right, that's what it will be. I don't know.
Yeah. Send a bitmaps to Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the internet. You can find my writing at 512pixels.net, and I co-host Mac Power Users here on Relay. Comes out each and every Sunday. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week. They are Ecamm and ZocDoc. Thank you for listening, dear listener. Thanks. We appreciate it. Next week, I'm gone. I will be replaced with 1-2 John. So you have that to look forward to.
How do you know that?
Because you told me.
Oh.
Oh.
I don't know what y'all are doing. I'm
Good
not
reason.
look.
There's a good reason to know that if I told you, but I just wasn't sure why you knew.
Yeah, you did. You said, OTJ is going to be on next week.
Okay. Yeah, he's going to be on.
So thank you, John, in advance for filling in. And until next time, y'all say goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.
Bye, y'all.